not just a, woo, that was a great Sunday at Riverside, but man, I feel energized, convicted, and called to go out and live like Jesus.
November 16th, that's this coming Sunday in the world. And at Riverside, Adriene, you're not preaching. You were preaching. That was the plan. I saw this preacher schedule up until, basically a couple minutes ago, as of this recording, well, more than a couple minutes ago. We've called an audible, a pinch hitter preacher who is in the pulpit this Sunday at Riverside.
So Bishop William Barber will be back at Riverside this Sunday, bringing what he calls a national message from the Riverside pulpit.
So he was with us a year ago, which was just before the election we all remember very, very well, from 20, whatever year that was, 2024. And now, he'll be back again just after some more elections have happened. We're on the other side of those. So there you go. We're recording this before those elections, so we don't know who won them all yet, just in case you don't see us commenting specifically. But November 16th, Reverend William Barber is with us again. What is his text? Give us any sort of insight you have as to what we can, know about him. We know at least the text. You just told me Hebrews something.
I did. I told you Hebrews. The challenge is, and this is, part of the beauty of preaching the gospel, of course. We think the text might be Hebrew, but, on the day of, Bishop Barber may get an inspiration and want to preach something else. So right now, I think it is going to be Hebrew 10, verse 39, focused on resistance, which certainly is what a lot of you, a lot of us, a lot of people across our nation have been doing in the face of this rise of fascism and downright, I would say, sinister behavior from the government.
Yeah. Hebrews 10:39 says, "But we are not among those who shrink back and so are lost, but among those who have faith and so preserve our souls."
Yes.
I don't know the context of Hebrews, haven't read the chapter, but just getting, one little hit of a scripture, yeah, that feels like it'll preach in the midst of what is still the first year of Trump's presidency 2.0 and all the ramifications that brings with it.
Yeah.
SNAP benefits, hurricanes, and how are we going to handle crisis relief for individuals, let alone, constant disappearing and deportations with no due cause still. There's a boat coming from Venezuela. Watch out for missiles. We didn't give any Congress heads up. So there's a lot going on that we are waiting for.
I would say it's a ginger shot of what we've been preaching throughout the year. We are not people without something to stand on. I mean, it's what we say Sunday in and Sunday out at Riverside. We have tradition. We have a holy book. We have practices and rituals that have seen followers of Jesus through for millennia. And I think Dr. Barber's coming to again remind us of what I and the other clergy at Riverside have been saying all year. We are not without hope because we are not without faith, and we are not without a Savior who has shown us a way. And it's great to hear that from another voice, a voice that we don't typically get to hear. And what a treat it will be to have Bishop Barber with us on Sunday.
Yeah. And I think, in a world where we only got intellectual sound bites, that feels good. But I just love what I'm anticipating Dr. Barber will bring, which will inspire and encourage in so many ways. But I frame it in all of the Sundays where you have modeled and led us into a somatic embodied practice at the start of worship, of the sermon. And to me, that becomes like we've opened the container to even allow the words you offer, we all offer. I just did it last Sunday. But then when Dr. Barber comes and gives us, 40 minutes of the word, it's not just going to be like a fire hose. We're going to be an actual sponge that's ready to absorb it because our bodies, week after week, we've done the reps so we can just incarnate it in a different way. And we already are. It's not like we're not doing justice work, but it will seep into the cracks, I think, because you've given us the yoga poses and the stretches and the hums and all the things.
I think also, in that vein, and in the vein of the 5-year framework that we've laid out about planting seeds, I think we've been tilling the soil and preparing the soil, getting our bodies ready and getting the body ready, even as we're rolling out this idea of Jesus justice, how we take what is in our texts and the way that we're interpreting these texts out into the world so that our embodiment, not just in the sermons, but our embodiment in the ways we live our lives and the way we do our justice outside of the walls of Riverside, I think we're ready for that as well. So, for 42 members to get on a bus with Reverend Mira and go and be a part of this conversation with the mayoral candidates, that was huge for us. To invite people to get on another bus and go to Brooklyn to learn more about the Nehemiah houses and the affordability issues that were addressed way back in the 70s, and to start thinking about how we might embody that sort of justice in our lives, starting to link what we're hearing in worship with the way we live lives and do justice, has been a multi-year project that I and the clergy, I think, have been preparing our community for, and I think they're hungry and ready. So I think Dr. Barber is just, like a raindrop in the soil that we've been tilling and
Yep.
preparing these past 3 years. So super excited to have him come and, add his contribution and nourishment to the soil that is Riverside Church.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And his work connects with the Poor People's Campaign.
right.
Say a bit about that. Just the need for the church to center and listen to and affirm and respond to poverty in our
Hmm.
world. It's not
Hmm.
rich people handling it, but the one tenet of the Poor People's Campaign is the people who are affected by these injustices are centered in the work of the movement. Just you've been involved, I know, in the Poor People's Campaign in various contexts. Just help bring that into this conversation as well.
Yeah, so the Poor People's Campaign is an initiative that Dr. King started in the 1960s, and this is a resurgence or a revival of it, if you will, that did exactly what you're saying. It is centering the voices of the marginalized. Very often we have clergy, elected officials, people in power, people with wealth speaking on behalf of. And I think what the Poor People's Campaign attempts to do is to put moms who are about to lose their SNAP benefits or who have lost their medical insurance front and center so that people can hear their stories. They are advocating for themselves. They are leading movements that impact them themselves. And I think that is a powerful message. And so it's a national initiative with chapters in each state. So it's local and national at the same time.
Yeah. And Riverside's been a proud partner and connected to that work. And I love it because it's one of those ways of decentering. Riverside doesn't have to do all the work. We're not, the big ego, look at us saving the world because we're the big church. It's like, well, I think that model needs to stay in the past. Now we need more of a decentralized community organizing where we partner together and have these coalitions to reach beyond just our own fiefdoms and egos and actually make an impact, because it's never just about stroking our ego. It's about actually changing the world and making an impact,
Yeah.
one day, one life, one family, one legislation at a time.
Yeah, that is what it is absolutely about. And I think when we think about the model, Jesus Christ, the one that we follow, you know, he's so different from us. And I'll speak for myself. Did not have a home, stayed with
Mm.
his friends, didn't have a regular paycheck that we know about. There's so many ways in which we are privileged and living lives that are hopeful. And I've been wrestling for the last few months with Miguel de la Torre's theology of hopelessness and this notion of people who for whom the wilderness is not a pass through. And I think about our siblings who are relying on SNAP, are living in wilderness situations that they are not passing through. This is their reality. There was this reel of moms talking about their SNAP benefits on social media, just sobbing, reminding people, I work full-time jobs, but my full-time job doesn't pay me a wage that allows me to buy the food that I need for myself or my children. This other mom who said, I don't eat dinner. My SNAP benefits mean that I don't eat dinner so that my kids can eat dinner. So if I lose those SNAP benefits, you just start thinking about children who aren't eating, moms who aren't eating. If those moms die from not being able to eat, then what happens to those children? And so it's so short-sighted and cruel and sinful for our government to be not able to figure out a way to feed hungry people, to take health
Yeah.
insurance from people who are struggling, and for us to not pay people wages that allow them to sustain their lives is a new form of slavery in my opinion. So
Oh, yeah, it's the kind of thing where I'm grateful for the stories of individuals who are donating to food pantries and helping neighbors, and we need that. We've always needed that. Yet that can't be the long-term sustainable solution. That's
right.
why we've established these systems to maintain it in case the individual can't sustain it. Helping your neighbor in these moments, yes, everyone keep doing that. Stock the food pantries, do all the things, give to the neighbors you know in need, help as you can help. And we need, systems and structures and governments that are going to be pro-life, especially the politicians who say they're pro-life and then they clearly vote and act in ways that are just leading towards the opposite of that for far
That's
too many
right.
individuals, from food to health insurance, so
Right.
many things right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's in the air. It'll be, I mean, it's in your sermons. It'll be in this sermon, I'm sure. And I guess I love that this Sunday at Riverside, in many ways, it's just another Sunday at Riverside. You
Right.
might have a slightly longer sermon. You're going to have a preacher who maybe you haven't seen in this pulpit in about a year. But, when it comes to the message and centering the work of justice as we follow this rambling homeless rabbi named Jesus,
Yeah.
well, that's what we do 7 days a week, 365 days a year. That's just the call to discipleship, period.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's about noticing. I've been on so many calls this week around the SNAP benefits, around immigration, around ICE coming to New York, and what we're going to do to resist that. And so I think this passage from Hebrews is really powerful. Just a
Yeah.
reminder that we are not people without faith. I
Yeah.
think in this 21st century, there's a way in which we can scoff at faith and scoff at prayer and scoff at the church. Um, with these constant reminders that we're in decline. But I think we do that as followers of Jesus at our peril. This faith which we have has been around for millennia for a reason. And yes, I know, the young people will say there are ways in which it is aligned with empire, no doubt. But there are also the truth of it is when it is lived out in the way that it was intended, a powerful force for so much good. Um,
Yeah.
when I see New Yorkers gathering on Canal Street to protect strangers they don't know, to me that is the best of who we are as people of faith. And do you need to have faith to stand up for your neighbor? You do not. I
Mm.
mean, Jesus did not have a church, right? He did not have a congregation. He was out in the world living what he believed and what he knew to be right on a daily level, on a local level, dealing with um, the harms and the needs of the world as they arose. And we certainly can do that. I think what the church does is just gather people and remind them of that and empower them to feel that they can do that. But do you need us to do that? You do not. You really do not. I'm reading Barbara Brown Taylor this week as well, and she's talking about reverence and awe and how very often we touch that in nature. Um, and very often what we see in the church, and I get why people are so down on us, what we see in the church is cruelty. What we see in the church
Yeah.
is unkindness. And the God, Alice Walker said, the only God I ever found in church was the God I brought with me. So,
Mm.
you know, so so the churches gets a bad rap, but I think what we offer the world at our best is something, as Hebrews says, that is a real foundation for some
Yeah.
extraordinary, miraculous, life-saving stuff. And my prayer is that the church and our church can get it together to do this transformational, miraculous work that I think God is calling us to. So hopefully this sermon from William Barber, like other sermons that we get to hear, just injects some of that into our folks. So again, like you said, it's not just a woo, that was a great Sunday at Riverside, but man, I feel energized, convicted, and called to go out and live like Jesus in a city that's about to be perhaps invaded. Um,
Yeah.
in a world where people I know are probably hungry, there's so much that we can be using this sermon to help send us out to do good things. Yeah.
Well, I just want to say, if someone can't make it on Sunday to hear Dr. Barber's sermon, just rewind and listen to that again, because that'll preach. That was a sermon. That was a word. That was a way of holding it in this moment and so many moments still to come. Ah, I knew you had a sermon in you, even if you didn't get to preach it in the pulpit on Sunday. That's how it always works, you know.
I always got something to say, but most of us do. And I think this is another reminder that, we're all preachers. We all have something to
Yeah.
say. So I hope in this moment, I mean, if there ever was a moment, this is the moment to stand up and say something. Not on social media necessarily, talking to your friends, getting groups of people together at your house for dinner and just encouraging them that we are not people without faith. Maybe what you say to your friends, we're not people without hope. We're not people without creativity or innovation, whatever the word is for you and your people. Remind folks that we are not without, we are not bereft, we are not starving. So, what are we going to do then with whatever it is we have? Our creativity, our money, our intelligence, our connections. Do something. Do something.
Do something.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah.
There it is again. Sermon number 2, or part 2, or just the benediction. We'll call it all. We'll take it all.
Right.
Well, we'll have a lot happening at Riverside on Sunday.
Yes.
We'll have Bible study in the morning, 9:30 in the room and on Zoom, 2 separate classes. That'll be great. We'll have worship, which will be filled with music and prayer and scripture and a sermon from a guest. So join us for all of it. It's going to be great. There'll probably be space afterwards to connect and and
Congregational meeting afterwards. Yeah,
oh,
it's an
fun
informal
times.
meeting, but it's where we're going to start planting those seeds and asking some questions that look to the future of the Riverside Church. We're 95 years old this year, but we want to be thinking about who we want to be when we turn 100, Riverside. So
Yeah.
stay after worship for that conversation. We really want you to be a part of it. We're going to be talking about all things Riverside, looking towards our future.
That's all this Sunday, and then before long, it's going to be Advent. We're going to be talking about that like in 2 weeks. So brace yourself. We got Thanksgiving still. We got then Advent, but it is chilly. I got a vest on already because I'm cold in my basement office here.
Yeah.
But get yourself to all the places. Talk to your neighbor. Yeah, you can post on TikTok, but have the conversations with the people who actually share the spaces with you, and maybe not even the people that you always find yourself agreeing with. Get out of those echo chambers, all of this work. Come to church. I'd like to think that maybe we aren't just an echo chamber. At Riverside, we definitely have space for all the points of view. They tend to be aligned towards work towards justice, which, hey, that's a good direction for us all to be on, regardless of disagreements along the way. So join us this Sunday, 9:30 for Bible study, 10:30 special music, 11 o'clock worship, all the good stuff after for the congregational meeting. And we will see you here on the next episode of The Word Made Fresh in about a week or so. Talk to you then.